What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Broke G35 here with my first video on YouTube. Glad to show you guys my build on YouTube finally. Sadly, today's video is a sad one. I do have a check engine light on my car. Unfortunately, VQ problems, but it's all right. We're gonna head to AutoZone real quick, look for some parts, and hopefully that fixes today's issue with my car. Stay tuned. Don't have a set schedule yet on what days I'll be posting. So this is gonna be my first video. I'm gonna get a eye for it. I'm gonna get a feel for it. Sorry. And yeah, today's a hot day. It's 94 degrees today. Let's see, how can I flip this? There we go. As you can see, it's 94 degrees. It is hot. Cars are warmed up. We're gonna go ahead and head out and go on to AutoZone. We made it here at AutoZone. So we secured the part. Yes, I went with the Duralast brand just for now, just to see if this part works and it clears the check engine light. Once I know this works, then I'll go ahead and get an OEM part. From what I know, they're super rare for these to go out. Usually it's the camshaft sensor, but apparently mine's saying that's the solenoid. So we're gonna test this one out, see if it works. If it does, then I'll get the OEM one and I'll return this one and go from there. Hopefully this works. What's up, guys? So we went ahead and got back home finally. Popped the hood, let it cool down a little bit before we touch it because it is going to be hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you the code I got. So I actually got a P1078, which is the exhaust timing control solenoid. So that's what we're going to go ahead and replace. I'll show you where it's at in the car, how to change it, and how to go about it, and hopefully this works. All right, so this is what it's showing me. It is the P1078. It says fuel to air metering. I do have another scanner that tells me a little bit deeper on what it could be. I also have some codes for some catalytic converters, but I have test pipes, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, so that's what it's showing me. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the car. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery and go ahead and change the part. So here's the engine bay. So this is the part right here that we're going to be changing. It is the variable valve timing control solenoid. So that's what's showing that is wrong. I actually took it off, cleaned it, and put it back on, cleared the code, and it still came up. So we're going to try changing the part. We're going to replace it, delete the code, go for a drive and see if it turns back on. If it doesn't, that means it worked. Obviously if it turns back on, that's going to lead to me for the camshaft position sensor. I'm thinking it's the angled sensor, which is the one that deals with the exhaust, just because the top one is the intake one. So hopefully this works. It is a pricey cost. This ran me about $260, even though it is the Duralast brand. All right, so you're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery. My terminal's already loose, so it's all good to go. And then you're gonna go ahead and get a ratchet. You're gonna get a 10 mil. I got an extension as well. So you're gonna go ahead and unscrew these 3 bolts, disconnect the connector. I pulled it out without taking out the negative ground. You can always take it off too. It doesn't hurt to take it off. You're gonna have less chances of damaging it. So go ahead and take that off, and then I'll show you what to do next. All right, so once you go ahead and unscrew everything, take off the bolts. So you're just gonna grab it, pull it off. There's gonna be a little bit of oil, it's kind of hot still. There is a gasket, mine fell, unfortunately, it's right there. So it's okay. So you're gonna go ahead and grab that. And once you take off the bolts, that's how it's gonna look like. There is gonna be a little bit of oil. So let's go ahead and grab our Duralast one. So this is our Duralast one. Go ahead and open this real quick. kind of hard with one hand. And there it is. So fortunately, the one from AutoZone actually just comes with the solenoid. It doesn't come with this bottom part. There is some where you can get the bottom part and the solenoid. Just for now, like I said, we're gonna go ahead and just change out the solenoid, see if that works. If it does, then I'll go ahead and get an OEM one, which does come with that. Cool thing about the Duralast one, it does come with a gasket, a new gasket. So we're gonna go ahead and use the new gasket, the new solenoid, put everything back in, go ahead and connect the power cord back on, and go ahead and erase the code and see, hopefully that works. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I went ahead and replaced it already. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this back in the car, and then hopefully this works. One thing I didn't realize, the sensor connection is located in a different area now. This was located on the side. I think this is going to mount on the bottom side. So it's kind of weird, but it is what it is. We're gonna go ahead and just test it out, see if it works. And don't forget to clean the solenoid as well, like the block part, not the solenoid itself, but the block part, just so it's nice and clean. Make sure there's nothing wrong with it. I did realize there's nothing really in the filters. I heard one of the issues why these go out is because you don't really change out your oil. But I change out my oil every like 3,000-4,000 miles, so I highly doubt this is the issue, but we'll go ahead and try it out. Let's go ahead and clean this part as well, which is the block part. Make sure it's nice and clean, and then we'll go ahead and put the gasket on and go from there. All right, so I got everything changed out. Didn't crank it down too hard just because the block is still hot. I don't want to cross thread it. So it's on there, but not tight. So let's go ahead and put the terminal back on. Boom. And then let's go ahead and reset the code and see if that works, hopefully. Still got to go on a test drive, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me grab these keys real quick. All right, sorry about that, guys. Phone died, so we're gonna go ahead and grab that scanner, clear the codes, and go from there. So go ahead and do that right now. So let's go ahead and grab our scanner, connect it up right now. Boom. Put it on accelerate. Read menu. Boom. Code went away on its own. Didn't even have to do anything. All right, hit enter. All right, let's go ahead and start it up. See if that worked. Moment of truth. Check engine lights gone, boy. There we go. What a relief. Check engine light went away. My idle's lower now. Back at 500-ish. Now, it used to idle at like around 1,000, 1,100. Now it's idling completely normal. Last thing to do is go on a test drive. Last thing to do is to go on a test drive and see if it fully cleared itself. Make sure it doesn't turn back on, and go from there. Go ahead and return the part, order the OEM one, and boom, we got ourselves a working G35 again. So glad I can show you guys what caused the issue. I wasn't sure. I did a lot of research online. I got a lot of people telling me that it was the solenoid, but it was showing mixed things about the camshaft as well. So if you guys have a P1078, I would try the VVT first. If that doesn't work, then obviously probably camshaft is probably out. So let's go on a test drive and see if it worked. All right, so we're right here on the main road. I'm gonna go ahead and just drive around for a little bit, see if it worked. So far so good, no check engine light. Before I felt like I lost a lot of power. Now I feel a little bit more power. Feels back to normal basically. I don't feel no lag, don't feel a loss of power or anything. It's idling normal. So that's good to hear and to see. Hopefully this is what caused it. So I'll go ahead and test drive it some more. I actually have a big trip tomorrow to LA. So I think that would be the ultimate test. Hopefully it doesn't turn back on. Don't worry about the other lights. The other lights are other things that I've done to it. I don't have tire pressure sensors, or went ahead and disconnected the VDC as well, and the slip light as well. So don't worry about that, but I'll keep you guys posted tomorrow. Hopefully the check engine light does go away completely tomorrow. I'll for sure know, because I'll go on that long drive, and then if it does, cool, I'll go ahead and or place an order for the OEM one and go from there.
Later that night.
What's up guys, day 2 with the check engine light. It's still on, like how I said last night. Check engine light did turn back on immediately after I turned it back on. It turned right on. So I went ahead that same night, like I said, I went to AutoZone, picked up the camshaft sensor, replaced it. I've driven it already about 100 miles and it hasn't turned back on. So I think we cleared it, guys. I think that was the issue on the car, was the camshaft sensor. I did hear those do commonly go out. VCT not so often, but it is possible that those do go out. And like I said earlier in the video, those usually go out when you don't really change your oil. So I normally do my oil change every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. So I don't think that was it, but I still replaced it. I thought it was it. It cost me about $256, like how I said, but that wasn't his issue. So I went and got the camshaft sensor. It ran me about $50 just because on AutoZone I did have a rewards of $20, so they discounted $20. Originally the part was $75. I'm sure if you guys got that at the dealership, it would have costed you more than $100. So if you go to AutoZone, you get the Hitachi brand. That is the OEM brand. Hitachi does make all the OEM brand for Nissan and Infinitis. So it would run you about $30 cheaper if you do have the rewards program with AutoZone, like how I did. I got $20 knocked out, ran me $50, literally $50, guys. That sensor that's a $100 sensor. So I'll show you guys where the location is at on that sensor and how to replace it real quick. So here's the engine bay. Excuse all the ugliness here, but the sensor is right back here. Since I did have bank one is on the left side of the motor, aka driver side. So not driver side, passenger side, my bad. So if you're looking right back here, let's see, so you see that green sensor, right? Let's see if I can get it focused right there, that green sensor. So that's your intake one. If you look right in the bottom right there where that sensor is at, that is your other camshaft sensor, which is the exhaust side. So that's your exhaust, and then that's your intake one. So I went ahead and replaced that. It's just a 10mm bolt, as you guys can see right there. Loosen it, pull it out, change the sensor, put it back, and make sure you're doing this when it's a cool engine. You don't want to strip or cross thread on the motor, since you are screwing onto an aluminum block. So go ahead and wait till it's cooled down, replace your sensor. I always disconnect my battery since we are working with electrical. So go ahead and disconnect the battery, change it out, and then plug everything back in, turn it on, clear your code. In this case, I didn't have to clear the codes. As soon as I put the terminal back on and went inside the car, it showed there was no check engine light. Driven it like that for 100 miles and it hasn't came back on, guys. So that's what did it. So I hope that answered any questions for you guys. So if you guys have a P1078 code, go ahead and try changing that out first before you actually change the VCT. Highly doubt it's the VCT. Those are really rare to go out unless you don't change your oil. And if you guys can see here, a little sneak peek for our next video. Full cat back exhaust, boys. All right, so I'll go ahead and leave it there. Stay tuned, guys. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys on the next video.